Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you all today. Today's presentation is titled Challenges to Democracy. We'll be exploring the key issues and obstacles that democracies around the world are facing today. Over the next few slides, we'll look into various challenges, from political instability to social divides, and consider what can be done to address them. Let's get started. Now, moving on to slide 2 of 13, let's explore the key ideas behind how we might reform democracy. First, the slide introduces the major topics we'll cover today. We start with understanding what democracy really means, then look at the specific challenges it faces, including those unique to Indian democracy. We also discuss 3 main challenges of democracy overall. Following that, we'll consider some concrete measures that could help deepen democratic practices. Throughout this discussion, it's important to see how these points connect to the broader goal of strengthening democracy, making it more inclusive, transparent, and effective for everyone. Let's start by talking about what we mean by a good democracy. A healthy democracy isn't just about elections, it's about active participation, accountability, and protecting fundamental rights. Now, as we look to redefine democracy, we need to consider how political reforms can help us adapt to changing times and challenges. Every region faces its own unique obstacles, so challenges to democracy can vary widely depending on the context. What might be a major issue in one country could be quite different in another. That's why it's important to analyze these challenges globally, understanding both common themes and specific differences. When we speak about broader challenges to democracy, we're referring to issues like rising populism, misinformation, and economic inequalities. These are not isolated problems, but interconnected threats that can undermine democratic institutions and trust. So, what does all this mean? Essentially, understanding the challenges to democracy helps us identify where we need to focus our efforts, whether that's strengthening institutions, fostering civic engagement, or reforming political processes. In summary, tackling these major topics is crucial for ensuring that democracy remains resilient and truly serves the people's interests, no matter the specific challenges faced in different parts of the world. Let's take a closer look at some of the challenges impacting healthcare systems, starting with political funding. As we all know, the way political leaders allocate resources can significantly influence healthcare quality and access. Insufficient or uneven funding often results in gaps in services, outdated infrastructure, or shortages of essential supplies. It's important to understand that political priorities can sometimes overshadow the actual needs on the ground, which can hurt both providers and patients. Next, we have the issue of doctor absenteeism. This is a critical concern because when healthcare professionals are frequently absent, patient care suffers. It can lead to longer wait times, reduced quality of care, and even increased workload for the remaining staff, which only adds to the problem. Addressing absenteeism isn't just about discipline. It's about creating an environment where doctors feel supported and motivated to be present. To bring these issues to life, I'll share a case study that illustrates how these factors play out in real-world settings. By examining this example, we can better understand the interconnectedness of funding, staffing, and healthcare outcomes. Ultimately, tackling these challenges is essential for improving the overall effectiveness of our healthcare systems and ensuring that quality care reaches everyone. Democracy means rule by the people, and that's a fundamental idea we need to understand. It ensures that every citizen has a say in how the country is run. This participation can happen directly, where people vote on laws and policies themselves, or indirectly, through elected representatives who make decisions on their behalf. The key point here is that democracy is about inclusiveness and giving power to the people. It connects to the overall theme, because democracy is often seen as the most fair and representative form of government, where the voice of the citizens shapes the nation's future. When we talk about a challenge in literal terms, we're referring to a demanding situation that calls for action. Now, when we apply this idea to democracy, challenges are essentially problems that arise while trying to maintain and ensure a democratic setup in a country. These are issues that can threaten the stability or effectiveness of democracy if not addressed. This slide emphasizes that challenges to democracy are not just minor obstacles. They are significant issues that need to be solved to keep democracy alive and functioning properly. Addressing these challenges is crucial because they directly impact the ability of a country to uphold democratic principles like freedom, equality, and participation. So, understanding these challenges helps us see what needs to be done to protect democracy and ensure it continues to serve the people effectively. It's about recognizing the problems and working actively to solve them, which is essential for the health of any democratic society. Faced by every democracy in one form or another, the key challenge is to strengthen the institutions that uphold democracy itself. When we talk about strengthening, we're focusing on institutions that enable people's participation and help them control the government. This is essential because a healthy democracy depends on active citizen involvement and transparent, accountable institutions. Moving to the next point, even countries that already have a democratic setup face the challenge of expanding it. This means making sure that various social groups and regions are included in democratic processes. It's about ensuring more social groups, more regions, and more institutions adopt democratic practices in their functioning. An important part of this is distributing more power to lower levels of government, so governance becomes more local and responsive. Then, we have countries that do not yet have a democratic setup. Their challenge is to make a transition towards democracy. Globally, about 1/4 of countries are still not under democratic governance, and they need to lay a solid foundation. This involves creating laws and policies that support democratic principles, so they can gradually build a democratic system from the ground up. Finally, as we wrap up this slide, remember that democracy truly means rule by the people. It ensures that every citizen has a role in decision-making, whether directly or through elected representatives. But there are 3 broader challenges that come with this, which we'll explore further. These challenges are crucial to understanding how democracy can be strengthened and expanded worldwide. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the specific challenges that Indian democracy faces today. These issues are complex and deeply rooted in our society. For example, lingism, which involves language divisions, can create barriers and hinder unity. Terrorism remains a serious threat that affects our national security and stability. Casteism is another deep-seated problem that perpetuates social divisions and inequalities. Regionalism often leads to demands for greater autonomy or even separation, challenging the unity of the nation. Illiteracy and ignorance continue to hamper development by limiting opportunities for many citizens. Corruption, unfortunately, erodes trust in institutions and hampers progress. The population explosion puts immense pressure on resources, infrastructure, and social services. Separatism movements threaten the integrity of the country by pushing for independence or greater regional control. Poverty and unemployment are persistent issues that affect millions and hinder economic growth. Communalism, or religious and communal tensions, can lead to violence and social discord. Social and economic inequalities create gaps between different sections of society, undermining the very foundation of equality that democracy stands for. While India has achieved a lot over the last 6 decades, these challenges highlight the areas where we still need to work harder. Recognizing and addressing these issues is essential for strengthening our democracy and ensuring a brighter future for all citizens. All the challenges of democracy are closely linked to the possibility of reforms. When we talk about these challenges, it's important to also consider how we can overcome the constraints that hold us back. Generally, all suggestions or proposals aimed at overcoming various challenges to democracy are called democratic reform or political reform. But here, the key point, not all countries face the same challenges, so there's no one-size-fits-all solution or recipe for political reform. In India's case, we need to develop specific proposals for reforms at the national level that address our unique needs. But we should also remember that the real challenges aren't limited to the national stage. Many of these issues also exist at the state and local levels, which are equally important to address if we want a stronger, more resilient democracy. So the big question is, how could we reform democracy? That's what we'll explore next. We need to think about tailored solutions that fit our context and also recognize that reforms are an ongoing process. It's not just about fixing problems today, but about building a democratic system that can adapt and improve over time. The law plays a crucial role in political reform. It can act as a deterrent to wrong practices and promote good ones. However, simply changing constitutional laws isn't enough to fully address the challenges of democracy. Think of it like cricket rules. When the LBW decision rules were changed, it helped reduce negative batting tactics. But no one believes that improving cricket quality depends mainly on changing the rules. Instead, it's the players, coaches, and administrators who make the real difference. Similarly, democratic reforms are primarily driven by political activists, parties, movements, and aware citizens. They are the ones who carry out the actual work of reform. Laws are important, but real change comes from the people involved in the political process. This highlights that legal changes are just one part of a broader effort needed to strengthen democracy. Legal changes can sometimes have unintended consequences, and this is a good example of that. In some states, there was a ban on people having more than 2 children from contesting panchayat elections. While the intention might have been to address certain issues, the result was that many poor individuals and women were denied democratic opportunities simply because of their family size. This shows that laws which try to ban or restrict something often don't work out as planned in the political arena. On the other hand, the most effective laws are those that empower people. They give citizens the tools to bring about change themselves. A perfect example of this is the Right to Information Act. It doesn't restrict or ban. Instead, it empowers ordinary people to understand what's happening in government. This act helps citizens act as watchdogs of democracy, which is crucial for transparency and accountability. By enabling people to access information, this law plays a key role in controlling corruption and ensuring strict penalties for misconduct. So, when we analyze laws, it's important to see if they truly empower citizens or if they might inadvertently limit democratic participation. Ultimately, the goal should be to create laws that strengthen democracy by giving power to the people, not taking it away. Democratic reforms are primarily driven through political practice, meaning that real change happens when we actively engage in the way politics is practiced. The main focus should be on strengthening democratic practice itself, making it more effective, more inclusive, and more responsive. When we think about reform proposals, it's important to consider not just what the ideal solution looks like, but also who will carry it out and how they will do it. For example, the legislature might pass a law, but it's up to citizens, organizations, and the media to implement and uphold that law in everyday life. This connection between theory and practice is crucial. Real reforms don't just stay on paper. They require ongoing effort from all parts of society to become effective and meaningful. Now, let's talk about some important measures to deepen democracy. First, ensuring freedom of the press is crucial because it allows the media to shape public opinion by sharing views and news on issues facing our country. This, in turn, raises awareness among people about what is happening in society. Next, fundamental rights provided by the Constitution play a vital role. They ensure that every citizen's rights are protected and secure, and these rights cannot be taken away by any government. This protection helps to build trust and confidence in our constitutional system. Finally, a literate society is essential. Education is a powerful resource because it brings about qualitative changes in individuals, equipping them with better tools and knowledge. When people are educated, they are more aware of their political rights and are empowered to exercise them effectively. All these measures, free press, protected rights, and education, are interconnected. They strengthen democracy by creating an informed, confident, and active citizenry.